Hi guys, how's it going? And welcome back to our garden and welcome back to a dry day. It's been raining for the last week, 2 weeks. So yeah, it's been really hard to just come out in the garden and do something. But finally we have a dry day, yay! So yeah, today I've got a couple of things that I want to do. I want to basically divide our iris that we've got in the garden. So iris, typically, I mean, you can divide them in the autumn and also in the spring as well. So either way, really. So I'm going to try and do that today. I've got a big clump behind me. I don't know if you can see it. Possibly can see it down on the floor, maybe. A huge clump. It didn't flower very well this last season. I think we had maybe 3 flowers out of a whole big clump, which to me says that it's time to divide it and sort of split it apart and start again, basically. So that's one thing I want to do today. The next thing I want to do is to dig up my Agapanthus and divide that as well. So again, Agapanthus didn't really do very well at all this year. I think we literally had 2 blooms. Last year was much better, but I think I know why. 1, I think it needs to be divided, but 2, I think there's some grass growing in it, which is basically taken over, and I think it's just smothering it. So let me just show you those 2 plants. And then if I've got time, I want to maybe pot on some of the seedlings that I planted, gosh, it was quite a few weeks ago now, I sowed them. And these are the hardy annual flowers, which we want to basically put out at the allotment this next growing season. So if I get time, I want to do that as well. But let me just show you the iris and the Agapanthus that I need to take care of. So just coming up the side of the border here, and it's in this corner here. We've got the eucalyptus tree here. What have we got there? Climbing hydrangea, which is just getting its autumn colour, so it looks really pretty. So it will drop all of its leaves. So climbing hydrangeas do drop their leaves, but they look really pretty. Give a little bit of a show just before they lose all their leaves, and they'll come back again next year. But this is the clump of iris that I need to take care of. So as you can see, there's loads and loads. Oh, look what I've just spotted. Look at those mushrooms. So that's how wet it's been. It's been so wet. I've no idea what mushrooms they are, and I'm not going to pick them or eat them or do anything like that because I have no idea. Yeah, I'm just going to leave them alone, I think. So yeah, these are the iris that I want to divide. So as you can see, there's lots of different rhizomes, loads and loads of them. So basically what I want to do is basically split those apart and divide them and then transplant them. So the easiest way really is just to dig the whole lot up. What I'm going to do actually before I dig them up is just to chop the stems down to about that height. Chop them down just so that when I replant them they haven't got a whole load of kind of green foliage to support, which, you know, it's fine, they'll start to grow quickly anyway come springtime. So I'm going to chop those back, dig the whole thing up, divide all the little rhizomes, and then plant them where I'm going to plant them. And I'll just show you the Agapanthus that I'm going to divide as well. So just coming down from the iris, which is there, we've got a little David Austin lady gardener still trying to do something. Even though we've had a freeze, it's still trying to push some blooms. Look, there's another little bud. Yeah, but it's on its way out really. But next to it, or beneath it, is the Agapanthus. So this is it. I'll not get too close. There you go. So as you can see, it's quite big. It's a big clump, and it's got lots of this grass in it as well, which I've sort of tried to sort of pull out, but I think I need to get down to the roots and just kind of make sure I've got all the grass out, because I think that's what's kind of smothering it, because it's just packed full of grass. Look at all that down there. So yeah, I need to get all that out, see if I can get all the grass separated, and then I'm going to divide it into 2, I think, and then plant the 2 little bits. So I'm going to put one back here, maybe sort of move it a little bit away, so at the moment it's sort of shadowed a little bit by the rose, so I might sort of move it forward a little bit. These are just sort of annuals here, so, well, that one's an annual, that one can be cut back a little bit. Yeah, so that's the Agapanthus. So I do have, so I'm going to leave half of the Agapanthus there, and then I think I'm going to plant the other half down here. We've got a little patch here which we had some yarrow in there. I sort of cleaned that out, so I might plant it there. Yeah, I think that'll be enough room next to our, that's the Boscobel rose over there, which is done now, but I think that'll be a nice bit. Now for the iris, I'm not sure. So I'm obviously going to leave some over here somewhere. It might not go exactly in the right spot. I might move it forward just a little bit because it sort of has been growing quite against this fence here. So I might just pull it forward just a little bit. And then coming round to the other side of the garden. Hello girls, little chickens. Hello. It's been very wet, hasn't it? Yes, very wet. Coming over to the other side, I might try and risk it and put it here. So if you've been following me for a while, you will probably remember that this border behind me, so that's where I was just pointing to. You see the hydrangea there, and there's another one there, and there's a gap there. So that border doesn't get as much sun as I thought it did. So I thought it was more like a part sun, I don't know, part sun border, and I think it's more of a part shade border. So it gets maybe, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours of sun, maybe 4 hours actually of sun, and that's it. So I have had to move quite a few plants out of there that I planted in there, thinking that it got more sun. I've had to move them out either to the other side of the garden or to the allotment. So I don't know, it might be a bit of a risk planting this iris there, because iris typically do better if they have more sun. So I'll have a think. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put the other iris. I might have some space in the front garden. I'll go and have a look. Let's go and see if there is any more room in the front garden, because the front garden does get a lot more sun actually. Let's come around here. There's little remnants of our Halloween. We've actually chucked the proper main carved pumpkins out and we had a big sort of Halloween scarecrow there and other bits as well, the decorations, but that's kind of just left over. But yeah, so this is the front garden, and I'm just trying to think, maybe we have got some room, and to be honest it could do with that sort of strappy leaf texture actually. So what about, I'm wondering whether there's enough room there. So I think that's a Fatsia japonica spider's web, and that's actually going to get maybe sort of 1.5 meters, 1 meter high by 1 meter wide, 1.5, something like that. So it will sort of fill in a little bit more, but whether we have a little bit of room there to maybe put the iris, we could do. Just trying to think if we've got some room up here. Yeah, or there, but then we've got a bit of strappy texture there already with the grass, so probably not the best place for it. Anyway, I'll have a think and see if that's where I might want to put the iris. Alright guys, so I'm just going to basically dig up those iris first. I think I'll do the iris first, and then I'll do the Agapanthus, and then we'll go from there. Alright, let's get on it. heavy. Right guys, so this is what I've dug out. So there's loads and loads, sort of maybe three sort of separate sections, but as you can see, each one of these has got its own little rhizome basically, and that's a separate plant. So in theory you could take that and just break that off. Let's see if that one will come off. There you go. So that's its individual plant there, and there's another one coming off there and another one as well, so in theory you could get 3 off there, but you can just keep going along and breaking them off. Let's see if I can break this one. Yeah, there you go. So that's another one, and you can just keep going and going and going with them, and then deciding where you're going to plant them. 2, 3, 4. Not sure about that one. So this is our pile. So we've ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a double one. I'll keep that one. 11, was that 11? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 plants. There's loads. I'll pop that off. So I did end up with some that had really sort of long rhizomes. So what I've done is actually just chop that off. So it's still left, for instance, this one that had a really long rhizome attached there. So what I've done is just kind of snap that off because it only needs a little rhizome there to grow. And then I'll discard that probably. And then a few which kind of the rhizome broke off the plant. So I think you'd probably still be all right planting that actually because it's got loads of roots. But yeah, we've got so many as it is. That one again had the rhizome chopped off, but you'd probably still be all right. We'll have to see. As far as I know, the energy is stored in these rhizomes, so it probably needs that to sort of grow. So anyway, there we go. All right, guys, so I'm just going to go and place some of these where I think I want them to go, and then I'll get them in the ground. So for these iris, so they generally like to have the rhizome coming out of the ground. So what I'm going to do is actually bury these roots. You've got some nice roots there. I'm going to bury those and about half of the rhizome, and then the upper part of the rhizome is going to be sticking out of the ground. And apparently they like that because they like to have the sun on their rhizome basically, and that just helps to give them the energy that they need. So let's do this first one. So I'm just going to pop that one in here. We've got really clay soil here, and especially with all the rain, it's just got really waterlogged. So I'm just going to plop that in there. So just making sure all the roots are in the hole. Getting that in there, that's it. And then I'm just going to sort of pack the soil around the rest of it around there. Can you see this soil? It's just so clay, like literally you push it together and it's like a ball of clay. I need to keep adding the compost and manure in here, because that's just going to help to break up the soil a little bit. Just keep adding it in year after year. So as you can see, you've still got the top of the rhizome out of the ground here, and I'm just made sure all the roots and the bottom of the rhizome are all tucked in. There you go, one done, 4 more to go in this area. So this one's got quite a lot of roots there, so I'm going to dig quite a big hole for this one actually. Let's dig quite a big hole out, because we want to bury all of those roots really nicely. Is that enough? Not quite. Not quite. Let's do a little bit more. A little bit deeper. There we go. Pop those in. So again, I'm just going to pack the soil round, just making sure all the roots are in. So now for these ones. So again, just kind of digging them up. Oh, there's something underneath there. Was that a bulb? Oh no! Hang on. Let me re-dig that bulb. Re-dig that down there. There you go. Cover that over. It never happened. Right. So a little bit around there. So that was quite a wide, big one. Let's see if we can get those roots all the way in. That's it. Alright guys, so I've got them in the ground now, the irises. Now for doing the Agapanthus. Don't you do that on my new cardigan. guys, so I've actually split it into two main bits. So to split Agapanthus is slightly different. You basically just kind of go with a little bit of a gap and then just slice down basically, and you can slice them. So they're very, very they bounce back really easily. So even though you cut through some of the roots here, it doesn't matter. I don't know if they call roots or rhizomes as well, probably rhizomes. But yeah, so we've got two plants here. So the next bit is for me to try and just get rid of all this grass. See if we can see if we can get rid of this grass and have something left to plant afterwards. Alright guys, so I was actually quite severe with the Agapanthus dividing. I did have another bit, which is this bit, which was basically where the bulk of the grass was, and I was having trouble separating the grass away from the rhizomes, and I just thought if I leave any grass in there, it's just going to grow back again. It's just going to have the same problem. So what I'm going to do is get rid of this big chunk and then just start again with these small little chunks here. So I'm hoping I've got all of the grass out, the roots as well, because it's the roots that are important really, because otherwise they'll just start growing back. I think I can see a little bit there still. But yeah, so I'm going to plant these in the hope that they are going to do something. Maybe not next year, maybe the year after. All right, let's get these planted. Alright guys, so one of the Agapanthus ended up there. So again, that'll fill in a little bit there. Hopefully it'll have enough space there. And then coming on up, we put the other one kind of back where it was, just moved it forward a little bit out of the way of the rose. So hopefully, I don't think we're going to get flowers off it next year. I think it's got to sort of start to regrow again, and so maybe if we're lucky the year after. Alright guys, so I'm just going to go and have a quick look at those seedlings. So these are the annual hardy annuals that we grew, so the flowers that we're going to grow, some of the flowers we're going to grow for next year. So it's going to come in to the garage. So excuse the garage, it's kind of a little bit messy. So this is where I've been keeping them, our little hardy annuals. So this is in the garage. We've got the grow lights on though, so we've got lights on them. We did have a heat mat on just to get them going, but as you can see, let me get the light on actually, hang on. Let me get the light on, it might help. Ah, there we go. So yeah, but as you can see, these are the artichokes. So we've got 3 artichokes there. There's some more sort of coming out that you can just see a little bit, 2 coming out there as well. So I might transplant those today. They're looking really, really good though. And then let's have a look at this other tray. So these ones are probably still a little bit small. So let me put them down on the ground and then I can let you know what we've got growing. So here we've got a row here, and we've got maybe 2 or 3 in each. We've got some straw flowers in the first row. The second row is our Soteria Highlander, lovely filler flower. Then we've got some Cerinthe Major. So again, I don't know if they're I might transplant those actually, or I might just let them grow a little bit more in there. I'll let them grow a little bit more, I think. Then we had Nigella and Ligurus, so basically bunny tails or hare's tails, and they did not come up at all. So I'm wondering whether they were too warm with the heat mat. So I've obviously turned the heat mat off now, because they don't really need heat,
because these are more sort of hardy annuals, so they can take a bit of cold, just not really sort of either really cold temperatures or freezing temperatures. So they still need to be kept inside or under a greenhouse or you know, somewhere that's a little bit protected. But yeah, so these ones didn't come up at all, so I've re-sown them, and we'll see if they do any better without being under the heat mat, on the heat mat. And then we've got some Ami Majus, so again a little bit spotty, but we've got enough there. So all I want to do is get about 4 or 5 plants per variety really. So we've got enough there really. And then we've got 2 rows of Rebecchias, which are really, really tiny. Yeah, little tiny ones. So we've got 2 different types. We've got Rebecchia Sahara, which is basically a mix of different flowers, sort of more autumnal colours. And then we've got the Rebecchia Cherry Brandy, which are kind of like a burgundy beautiful one. And again, I think we've got enough. These ones I think are staying too wet, which is really surprising because I put vermiculite on top of these. But I think what has happened is I've been over-watering them. And actually the vermiculite keeps the moisture a lot better than the other cells. So I'm going to back off a little bit with the water for these, otherwise they're going to, yeah, I don't want them to succumb to being too moist. So yeah, so I think I'm going to leave these ones. They need a little bit longer, they can stay in there. And then I think I might just pot the 3 artichokes. There we go. There we go. Right, so I'm just going to take these ones out and I'm going to pop these on into their little bigger pots, and then they'll be ready to keep growing. So I think my pots are actually in the shed. We had a bit of a move around of things because we were trying to clear the garage out. So we had a bit of a move around, so I think all our pots are in the shed. Yes, there we go. Right, so these are all our pots. We've got tons of them. So obviously we haven't used these since spring because we've not needed to, but I'm going to get 3 out. There you go. And I'll fill those with compost and then get those other ones potted on. So I'm using just some peat-free all-purpose compost. So we're trying this. We've grown a bit of this, actually, a bit of stuff in this, and it's been really good. It's called the Growing Patch. Peat-free. Yeah, even the seedlings have grown really well in that. Apart from those 2 rows, but I think that was my error with the heat. Hi Eric. Hi. You okay? What are you up to? Alright guys, so that's going to be it for this video. So yeah, hopefully next time we'll be able to transplant some more seedlings. But we've got those 3 transplanted and they're going to carry on growing. But yeah, super happy with getting all those iris divided and the Agapanthus. We'll see about the Agapanthus. I didn't get much per bunch there, so we'll see. I might get to next year, and if it's not flowering, I'll kind of get impatient, as I normally am, and I'll just go and buy some more. But yeah, we'll see what they do come next year.
And if they don't flower, we'll see what happens. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.